Hello, kids. It's Mr. Ag here, and I'd like to just kind of chat with you briefly about our current inquiry unit, which is called Change, and we are focusing primarily on history. And last week we kind of introduced ourselves to what is history, and we looked at a few different civilizations, and we looked at a museum tour, and this week we're going to be focusing on something called perspective. And you've heard a lot about this, whether you know or not, but history is typically told from a singular viewpoint or one perspective. Now, one of the problems with that is a lot of people do not get represented in that telling of history. So we've learned over time that we need to include multiple perspectives about historical events and things that happen over the course of time between people because we're finding that the vast majority of the stories that get told are told from a white male perspective. And that leaves out many groups of people. And so, what we're going to do is we're going to try to dig into what exactly is perspective and how does it relate to history. So, for today, you're going to go into the You've already done this if you're accessing this video, obviously, into the inquiry folder and into the Monday, January 11th folder, and this is the introduction to multiple perspectives, okay? So what I've included here are three different things that talk about perspective. And interestingly enough, this is something that you've actually heard many times in the reading of the IB mission statement, which happens at every single one of our community meetings. So I included the link here to our school homepage. So you see our school homepage here, the Center for Inquiry Schools, and on this school page, you see our program outline is first our mission statement. So this should sound familiar to you. The mission of the Center for Inquiry is to develop a community of respectful, lifelong learners who use inquiry, critical thinking, and problem-solving skills to become socially responsible contributors to a changing global society. Now, as we study this change in history unit, we are doing all of these things. We're developing our ability to inquire. We're thinking critically about events from the past and how to think about events from the past. We use the things that we learn to solve real problems that are facing us today. Like, for example, improving race relations is something that we can apply our learning about history to improving the relations between groups of people today that are struggling to get along and becoming socially responsible contributors to a changing global society. The world is changing, and socially responsible means we're trying to do what's best for humankind. And there are lots of different opinions and ideas about what that means. And so that would be a representative of multiple viewpoints or multiple perspectives. We're talking about perspective today, okay? I'm going to go down here to the CFI vision statement next. So this is what our school is attempting to do as teachers and as a learning environment so that kids can become able to see the world from multiple viewpoints. CFI is a diverse, equitable, inclusive family of public international baccalaureate schools whose community members consider multiple perspectives and are inspired to reflect, collaborate, and take action to make positive impact on the world. This part here, consider multiple perspectives. That means we're not just trying to think about things from our own viewpoint, we're trying to think about things from multiple viewpoints, from the way that different groups of people think about any given problem that we face. So now I'm going to skip down here a little bit to the International Baccalaureate. That's the bigger group of schools that CFI is a part of. And if you look down, the IB mission statement is something that you've heard a lot. Down here, the International Baccalaureate aims to develop inquiring, knowledgeable, and caring young people who help to create a better and more peaceful world through intercultural understanding and respect. To this end, the organization works with schools, governments, and international organizations to develop challenging programs of international education and rigorous assessment. And here's the part. that's related to what we're studying today exactly. These programs encourage students across the world to become active, compassionate, and lifelong learners who understand that other people with their differences can also be right. So two people can be thinking about the same exact thing and have completely different opinions about it, and both of them can be right. And it can be more than just two people. It can be three, four, five, many, many people who are thinking about one thing and that they have their own perspective about it, and all of them can actually be right at the same time. So when we're talking about multiple perspectives, we're talking about thinking about the world from different viewpoints, including your own, but also other than your own, and recognizing that the way that you see the world is part of a framework of how you've been raised to think, and other people don't necessarily have that same exact framework. So, moving into your work for today, this read aloud here is kind of a story that illustrates multiple perspectives in a really cute way. So it's called A Tale of Two Beasts. I encourage you to listen to this story, read this story along with the narrator, the person who's reading the story, and think about what does this have to do with multiple perspectives? Okay, and it's interesting. The choice of the word beasts here is a really interesting choice. And then we've got a little YouTube video to go along with this called Intro to Perspective Taking. That's kind of a more kid-friendly yet still academic approach to understanding what is perspective. And as we move forward this week, we're going to be thinking about perspective as we study history and as we study biography, as we study other things that go along with this change unit. So for example, one of the civilizations, we didn't study it last week, but one of the ancient civilizations that commonly gets taught about to kids is the Roman Empire. So the Roman Empire started as a Roman city-state, and then the values and ideas spread far across Europe and even farther outside of Europe. And so in history, we look back, and many people look at this civilization as being one of the greatest civilizations of all time. But what part of the story gets left out is, what about all those people who, when they were spreading their empire and they were conquering groups of people, they were forcing other groups of people to live like they live. And that story often gets left out. And so when you start considering more parts of the story, you get a more accurate picture of what actually happened. And so that's one of the reasons that we're encouraging you to not just think about things from one viewpoint or from one source, but to consider multiple sources and multiple viewpoints when you are learning about history, and when you're even thinking about current problems. Think about things from multiple perspectives, not just your own point of view. All right, good luck and enjoy. This story in particular is going to be really fun for you, and the video is also kind of fun. So hopefully by the end of today, you have a much better understanding of what it means when we talk about perspective, viewpoint, and multiple perspectives and multiple viewpoints. Good luck and have fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow.